Oh, look, another thing to pay attention to for weight loss, and it has the word index in it. I'm sorry for any dismay. However, if looking to lose weight, a great tool and guideline that can help is the glycemic index, and let me tell you why. Now, contrary to what many people may think, our bodies don't just run off of coffee. Well, they do, but it's not coursing through our veins and is responsible for every subconscious process involved in operating our cerebrum, muscles, or organs. I know it might feel this way, but it's not our actual source of fuel. Most people's primary source of fuel is glucose, and glucose is what most food is broken down into and is considered a ubiquitous source of energy for every organism in the world. But like many things, too much or too little can harm us, which brings us to the other name for glucose, blood sugar or monosaccharide sugar. In fact, in the early 1800s, a French chemist coined the name glucose from an ancient word that meant sweet wine. Now, of course, scores of examined bodies and studies have shown that too much sugar in our blood for too long can translate into complications such as nerve damage, diabetes, and later even possibly going blind. Now, the glycemic index ranks carbohydrate foods according to how much or how little it affects our blood sugar levels. The higher the number on the glycemic index, the less that we should be eating of it. High glycemic foods typically include white bread, cereal, cakes, cookies, and fries, while low glycemic foods typically consist of Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and sourdough bread. And since foods like chicken and beef don't contain many carbs and don't spike blood sugar levels, they are not included on most low glycemic food lists, but they could be considered as low glycemic. Now, the reasons to stay away from high glycemic foods seems pretty obvious. However, in the interest of fairness, there is some conflicting data that is coming out. Just recently, a study funded by the Grain Foods Foundation, a foundation that includes the National Pasta Association, USA Rice Federation, and the Wheat Foods Council, found that there was no difference between high glycemic foods and low glycemic foods for weight loss. No difference between high glycemic foods and low glycemic foods for weight loss. It seems rather odd that things like Lucky Charms show no difference in weight loss when compared to foods like broccoli. I don't know. Maybe it's because some of the investors to the foundation include companies like Kellogg's, General Mills, and Kroger, among many other grain-based companies that have foods that just so happen to rank high on the glycemic index. I don't know. I'm not suggesting anything, but maybe that sways the studies a little bit. And on the flip side of all of that, this new study that has come out, an analysis of over 130 participants concluded that a diet with high glycemic index food was associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease and death. But again, this is just me laying out the facts as they are, and there is some conflicting data around the glycemic index. Okay, again, to be fair, there needs to be more data and more studies, but for me, I wouldn't put my trust in a grain-based foundation funded by grain-based companies looking to demonize the glycemic index that ranks their grain-based products as being unhealthy. Which is why I'm suggesting that you use the glycemic index as just a guideline to help categorize your carbohydrates for weight loss and overall health. Because the foods that typically show up high on the glycemic index are foods like white bread, which don't have much else to offer other than a spike in glucose. And foods found low on the glycemic index usually have more to offer than just a spike in blood sugar. Broccoli, for example, has an ample amount of carbs, protein, fiber, and vitamins, and foods like broccoli that are more nutrient dense can aid in energy, recovery, and fat burning. So try having most of your carbohydrates be the ones that fall low on the glycemic index. And don't treat this as a one thing that you should do, but rather treat the glycemic index as a tool to help you become more familiar with the differences between nutrient-dense and nutrient-deficient sources of energy, with the added benefit of separating yourself from going blind or dying. I hope this helps. Good luck.